Sometimes people fall through the cracks and you don't even know it.
It's got the red blood that flows from our veins.
Yes! And you know, hope that we can heal and that it won't hurt so much. Because did nobody see that she wasn't all there? And did nobody say anything? And what about her ex-husband? Didn't he go to the house? Didn't he see the guns?
Don't ask me a thing. I'm in silent vigil. This is my message.
And then I saw his teacher. So I started moving over to where she was. She was walking. She had 4 or 5 kids, and each, you know, they were all holding hands, but none of them were him. And then my heart dropped.
So he finally calls me and says,
I have him.
and I was just like, okay.
And I went over, and I gave him a big hug.
And I called David on the phone, my guy who helps me with the building, and I said, get over here and get that flag back up. I want the big flag back up in the center of town.
So I'm going to see if I can do I had in mind. I've been looking everywhere. I haven't found her yet. She's
I'd like to welcome everybody. This is the reunion for the fourth wall, 26 Pebbles. It's been about just a little over a year since we completed what to me was one of my favorite plays I've done in 40 plus years of doing theater. So I'm just going to go around the room because you're probably in different boxes with everybody. So I'll just call out your name, and what I'd like to do for anyone who is watching this, I like doing this, is who are you, what you did in relation to our production of 26 Pebbles, and what character or characters, some of you played multiple characters, most of you did, and we'll take it from there. So Sam, lead us off.
Alrighty, my name is Samantha Rose, and I was Dennis's right hand during this production. I was his assistant director.
Okay. Let's go with Brody.
My name is Brody Jennings. I was one of the actors in the show, and I am tremendously embarrassed to say I can't remember any of my characters right now.
Mike,
so sad. I know.
Mike, all right?
I had like 3 of them, and I can't. Mike, yeah, was Mike the? I think Mike was the Bostonian guy that I.
Yeah.
Yeah, the construction.
Okay.
Chris was the other one.
God, you remember more of my characters than me.
Yes.
Jeez.
Well, if Brody, if you need any help through this, Craig, this is Brody. Brody, this is Craig. You will work together as a team. You are now Craig's memory, and you may also be mine. I go south. Ken, talk to us.
I am Ken Watkins. I played Bill in this production, and man, it was a real joy. It was a pleasure. I mean, you wouldn't know it by all the crying, but it was so fun. And by the way, Brody, I happen to have this right here in my hot little hands.
Oh, perfect.
I can tell you that you were Mike, Joe, and Chris.
Hey,
Mike, Joe, and Chris. There we go. Okay.
Very good. Very
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
All right. Let's hit up Craig.
So, my name is Craig Sanders. I was one of the actors. I played Darren. Yeah. I played.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You're turning to Amanda to make sure you are.
I did.
All right. And who is this lovely lady to your left?
My name is Amanda Barboza. I played Georgia, Sally, and Julie.
Yeah. That's right. Yes, a ton of folks. How about Fran? Finish us off.
She's muted.
Oh, she's muted.
She's lost her audio.
Oops.
Houston, we have a problem. Unmute that baby. There you go. All right. Hit it, Fran.
So one of my characters, I loved something about her so much, I inherited the habit of jelly fringy earrings. And I couldn't remember her name, Brody, so I had to look up my previous cast lists in my file. Jerry Ann. So I played Jerry Ann and Carrie.
And fine job you did. And Dennis has had the pleasure of directing this fine cast. Gonna just open it up to the group with the angle that if someone starts to talk, try and let them finish, and then we'll get you next, as opposed to having to raise hands or do that. We've got a small enough group here, we can kind of freeform it. All right. If you need to, other house rules, you need to get up because nature is calling you. Wave goodbye and go take care of business. Come back. Don't forget 20 seconds of hand washing before you come back with soap. All right. So, question number one I got for you. This goes to those of you that had multiple characters. The favorite of the characters you played and why? Let's see.
I would say I'm torn because Joe was very passionate. You know, he has that whole moment with the rabbi where the rabbi goes on about Adam and how he talks about, you know, trying to kind of forgive him in a way. And then, you know, Joe comes in, wipes his name off the board, and has
The only
that.
thing that any asshole does is succeed in becoming infamous. And he will become a mark in a history book if we let him. What do you do? How do you bury someone like that so that you forget them? Because that's what you need to do. You need to forget them.
I really liked the passion that Joe had throughout the show, but I think I had a lot of fun playing Chris. I've played characters like Chris before, and it's kind of fun, that prim and proper, wearing a suit, kind of monotone voice character.
Again, I sent stuff down to Haiti, a lot of police stations so they can start keeping teddy bears in their trunks again. We took care of all the battered women's shelters, hospitals, toy closets for all the children's hospitals. I mean, I've got a list of where everything went if you wanted to see it. But everywhere was somewhere good.
And that whole scene where they're doing the gifts too, I really like that scene.
Well, and I want to say what Brody was saying too. There's a part for those that don't know, this deals with the tragic murder of a bunch of school kids and staff. And in one part of the play, it's written that individually people go up and write the names of all the victims. During rehearsal, we're getting to the end of the rehearsal, and Elijah, who played the rabbi, came to me privately and asked if he could put the name of the shooter on that same chalkboard.
Adam, you are different. And some kids, I know the kids, they call you names, but that's because you are different. And I want to show you, I want to introduce you to people who are just like you, who have Asperger's, who are actuaries and researchers, or other things that have intense mathematics involved. You could be at the forefront of medical research with your skills. Not a lot of people could do that. But you've got it. And I want to help you. And I'm going to help you in this life and through this world because you are gifted. And I know that some people are going to, call you names or bully you, but we've all been bullied. Join, no? The club. You're in the club. But I'm your friend. And I'm going to be meeting with you every week. And some days we're just going to go out and play and shoot some hoops. And some days we're just going to go out and talk. We're mammals. We flock together. We need to be together.
Chalkboard. And I thought, interesting, let's present it to the group. Presented to the group, everybody liked it. And then I got a hold of the playwright. I did not want to do it without getting his permission. He said, very interesting, and do it. But it wasn't, I mean, as soon as we said, let's do it, you spoke up, Brody, on behalf of your character and said, yeah, but if he wrote that on there, that one character of mine would come over and erase it. And I got to tell you, that was one hell of a moment. They always will say, or those that I've taught and those that have taught me have said, the best acting happens between the lines. And that was one of those special moments. You didn't have to even say anything. There was just a lot of power behind it. So, little side thing I wanted to say. All right, who else got, of those that did multiples, what was the role you dug the most and why?
That's like picking between your kids.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Oh, come on, there's a favorite.
Well, Georgia, like I want to say Georgia because I got to play with her accent the most, and Craig's great to work off of.
We decided we wanted to be driving distance from New York, but something that was kind of similar to what the kids in us do, which was kind of a small, sleepy town. The very first house that comes up is in a place called Newtown.
But I also, like, there was something about Julie, you know, it was a Karen before that was even a term, but she is just very, all three.
A couple people I worked with, one in particular said, you have to live in Sandy Hook. That's where I lived. It's the best school. It's the best school district. There's no way you couldn't love it.
I just took totally, they were all very, very distinctive and different. And Sally.
And sometimes you go and it's packed and it is this awesome ice cream. And you smell the manure. I mean, it sounds like a dairy farm. It's just one of those things where you're like, this is Newtown.
Being Ken and the hometown girl, just, you know, a good old girl, I guess. But, you know, all three, you know, were great to have the opportunity.
And I got to say, the connection, and this is one of the best things I love of acting, is if you cast it right, you got it made. And this show was cast correctly with the people that were in it. And the connection, you and, oh, bring the kitty in, you and, oh, take the kitty out, you and Ken and Lisa had as your parents, the moments you guys shared on stage, more special moments. And I want to bring up an example of how to handle an audition for those of you out there that are actors. This show could be cast with single people playing multiple roles. I really wanted more and more, as much as I could, to get single people playing a single role. And we had the first round of auditions, and actually we finished even, if I remember right. And Amanda pulled me aside and said, you know, I'd really like to give it a try here with the Australian accent. I think I could do that role as well. And I hadn't yet figured out, and over here, this lady, Samantha can attest to it. I had a whole bunch of different matrices done up of, okay, these people can play this part, these can play that, and I hadn't figured out the three roles yet that you ended up getting. And then you got up there and you nailed it and got you those three roles. So point to actors out there, you know, if you really want something, go for it. And she just came up very properly, professionally, and said, you know, I'd really like to try to read for that role. Do you mind? Did it, nailed it. So there. Fran, you had a couple of women that you were playing that were interesting.
Yeah, they're different as night and day. I want to say to Amanda that I just got finished totally binging on an Australian show called A Place to Call Home. If you can catch it, I think it's on Hulu or Stars or something. Just fabulous. And I have to say, I was just hooked on all these characters, but the way that you played your part with that Australian dialect, just way up there. Just
thank you.
Nailed it. So I love both my characters. They were so opposite. They were kind of like, comedy and drama, just very different. And I have a leaning towards comedy. That's where I'm drawn most of the time. But I like a nice, meaty, dramatic role. And Dennis offered me the part of Perry. I remember, well, first of all, I was thrilled to get a couple of parts that were just delightful. But I mean, I just turned 72 years old. So last year I was 71, and I said to Dennis, I got two little girls that are like 6 and 7 years old. And you said, I mean, you spent like 2 seconds and you said, well, you just got to convince the audience. That's it. And just left me to it. And I really appreciated that. I thought, well, don't tell with it. I don't have any reservations. Do it.
That just made me flash on your line about you got a hold of your husband, I believe, and said get them, both of them.
Yeah. Keep going, and I jumped out on the road and I started directing traffic for about an hour. And as I'm doing it, I started to realize that this was really significant.
I got to Riverside Drive and there were cars just everywhere. And so I pulled over and I saw that there was a man sort of directing, telling people where to go. So I unrolled my window and I said, what's going on? Where are the kids?
It's all coming out of the firehouse.
So I got my husband on the phone and I said, Mickey, out of the drive, I'll pick you up and I'll drive you as far as I can. So he came out, I dropped him off and he ran down. And I just said to him, bring back both of them.
And that coupled with later on, you have a little piece where you end up saying, and he got them both. Wow. Ken, Master
Yes,
Ken, what's the name of the cat?
Oh, that was Choco.
Choco.
Yes, he wanted to go. I'm like, shut up, cat.
So he made his debut. A moment on your end as the father that really hit your heart. What would that be?
Well, the part where me and Lisa and Amanda were on stage and we were talking about the shooter.
It's like what you said, Dad. Some people honestly just don't know the difference between right and wrong.
A very good friend of mine explained it perfectly. He said, there's no difference between a man that's being chased by someone with a machine gun and a man who thinks he's being chased by someone with a machine gun. Our parents teach us things, it sticks with us, and we pass it on to our children. And this little hiccup happens where everything we taught them just goes away. You sit there and you ask yourself, who stole my son from me? And the sad part is, he's over 18. So legally, there's nothing we can do. We're not any different than Mrs. Lanza in that we allowed our son to function too. And we just couldn't do anything about it.
But I felt just about every word I said. And it to me, super emotional. I was trying to imagine myself, poor guy's dad. It really did. And I think it came out through my character because every time I'd say when we did the show and rehearsal, it felt like a shot to the heart because I could really feel for these people having this just stunned with these mental health issues and not being able to do a thing about it. It's just beyond their ability to help. And yeah, that was it for me. That was a special moment for the lines that I had. But the whole thing, from beginning to end, it was just super meaningful. It was just one of those shows I'll never forget.
Yeah. Your connection, like I was saying, that you had with Amanda as your daughter, but what you had with Lisa as your wife was also real. That's another word. It was real. I lost you.
Here.
Come back.
Just here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and for those that have not seen this play, again, the words, the playwright went to the town and interviewed people, not with the intent necessarily of doing anything with it, but you got a lot of stuff out of it, and ended up making it into a play. And we broke it into basically three acts. Act one is kind of our town. This is our town, and this is what we have, and that's where you get your ice cream, and here's where you go there, and here's the flag. And act two was the actual shooting, and then act three is the magical strength these real people had. And that's, to me, what was the power to the play, was not any trying to sensationalize the tragic murders, but the strength these people had in such a horrendous situation. I remember when I first heard about this tragedy, and we'd never had elementary school kids murdered, and there was just something about stealing life from such little people, and you all made it so real. And the other thing I just wanted to add on that, it hadn't been written that necessarily people stayed on stage, but I didn't want that connection to be lost at all. And what you all did in the background when you weren't on stage, and how you continued to carry on maybe a moment you had on stage and then went back up stage and sat down, or just your reaction and what you were hearing from other people who were out, center stage, I think just increased the intensity and the honesty and the truth of it. And I applaud all of you on that. I as you direct, you have vision and you have an idea where you want to go with it. It's clear you all exceeded it. Just exceeded it. And then you add in, because I want to give her props to not here, Kim and her set. Those two chalkboards and then the center platform, making it a classroom. I remember the moment before rehearsal when she started getting all the little pieces up, and it looked like a classroom, and it gave me chills knowing where we were going to go with the piece. And I remember saying to Kim, my God, we're in the room where many of these kids were murdered. So anyway, this one gets me choked up. I'm going to start showing some pictures, and then we're going to take a quick break to just log back in here. Let me go off to this. I know I shared a lot of these with you guys already. There's what I'm talking about. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get a chance here to see the fine work that Kim did on that back wall with words and letters, and then the great work Jenny did on her side. But just a look at the two of you on the back end. Incredible.
Oh.
I've got a series of these, and we're going to address more of these on the on the flip side of this little thing we're doing after this commercial break. Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Be right back. All right, here we go. There you get a chance to see a sense of the group. Okay, now here's my series of shots. I mentioned when we did the sketch thing, Amanda and Craig, I wanted to get to all these. And here we go. Boom, 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 boom. I took a lot of shots. Anyway, I don't want to get personal unless you guys want to, but where were you guys at as human beings prior to this?
You want to start?
No.
That's me. All right. Well, this show brought me and Amanda together. Before that, we were not. We met during the previous the spring sketch show, and then we did 26 Pebbles. No, sorry, we did Calendar Kids. We did Calendar Kids, and then we played husband and wife in that, which was directed by and written by Brody, coincidentally, and then we were husband and wife in this as well. So this is the one that did it, and yeah, we just got closer and closer in the show, and we've been together ever since. Can't be any happier. So we owe a lot to the show and for Dennis for making that casting decision that he did, and we're very grateful.
I had no idea, but it was an extra special thing to watch, knowing you guys personally, and then seeing the work that you were doing on the stage and watching the two meld together. This photograph here sums it up for me. So, yeah. This is I know in the beginning. What you're talking about?
Sally. The ice cream.
So you're Sally Junkin.
That was on a dairy farm. Yeah.
Yeah, more of our town kind of moment. There's our hugger, the town hugger. Donna Lee got a hold of me right before this that she wasn't going to be able to make it. But here's the town hugger. There we go. There's the family. That is a family right there. I loved all the interaction between the three of you. There's another one. You can just see it from here, what you guys have got going. Little motherly advice, maybe. Huh?
If she rang the bell twice.
That's right. That's what that was. She rang that bell twice, and you had to come in. There's our stargazers, our astrological angel card reading group, tarot card reading group.
And we decided we were going to open our first business. And this was not our first choice. Actually, we were in another space because I'm not from here. So there was a calling for me. And we saw a place on Main Street. We were sitting down to sign the papers for the lease. And I looked at the star, and I looked at the other landlord, and I said, you know, my angels are telling me we just can't do this. So then we ended up here.
Elijah as the rabbi. I got to see, that's another thing that came out of this, and for those that weren't with us, we were able to connect with several of the real people that the play was based on. And one of them was the rabbi that Elijah played. And I just saw a thing today where he did some kind of a ceremony online, and before just gave people the advice of love and remembering that things will get better. And it's just nice to have that connection still. And there he is again as the rabbi. Did a really good job, came in late into production. Shout outs and love to Marcus, who had been with us originally, and shout outs to Elijah for coming in. Boy, I never shoot a camera with your glasses off. Mike is the priest. Now again, look at that in the background. Besides him, look at Lisa, Ken, and Craig over here, really taking in what he was talking about. The scene with our four women talking about the town, and anything comes up that you want to remember while we go through these, just shout it out.
I think I finally got my lines down in the last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it did fine. There they are again. This particular play lended itself well to the lack of lights theater at that time had.
Yeah.
People could say, wow, you really made it moody. Well, that's all the lights we had. at the time. But again, kudos to Kim. She made the most, as she did with every show that has done, in designing of the lights with the limited instruments we had. One of my favorite shots. And again, take in Ken and Lisa in the background, plus what Jen is doing on stage. So from the audience perspective, I got to tell you, because you guys never got to be in that position, it just intensified moments like this for those of us watching it. Because my eye didn't have to stray much to take in the two of them, and suddenly I'm really crying. Mike and Jen again. The stuff, Craig, you did, this is now we're getting into what we refer to as second act. The shooting's taken place.
That was one of my hardest. That was one of the most difficult scenes, I feel like, for me. One where the first break. I don't know if that's the first breakdown or if that's the second one.
I'm not sure, but yeah, and you really worked your tail off on that.
I knew he didn't just walk into the classroom and shoot himself in front of the kids. And I couldn't imagine. Why? I knew with that information, that there was more than the three. And him being in the classroom and the numbers, we just watched in horror as it went from a handful to a dozen to 20. And I thought, we've Tom Columbine!
Thank you.
And
I was never
there's-
satisfied with it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I was never quite satisfied with the tree moment. I was always trying to get more out of it. So. Yeah.
Well, and everyone's entrances and exits, the energy that you guys brought, like how you left after the collapse, and the interactions that took place between the characters. Where you might walk out arm in arm, but I remember after that moment, you, Amanda, were almost helping him off the stage. Beautiful. Boy. Yeah, we're definitely second act part. There they are again.
I think that's my favorite picture.
I feel like I feel like saying here, I didn't know 26 Pebbles was a musical, because it looks like you guys got you're doing some kind of musical moment here. Stop in the name
of love.
Oh, look at that.
That's sweet.
Alex and Mom. Alex is now, we're doing, we do these clown workshops, professional clown workshops. We used to do them at program, which we're of course not doing anymore. And we're doing them online every Wednesday from like 11 till 1. And she's been participating in that. We just did that today. So she's kept active. Yeah.
That's weird.
Group Matt over there on the side. And that's what I got on notes. And again, I'm just going to open to the group. What, if were there changes that this production brought upon you? What were they? How did they manifest? And what has happened since?
I mean, I was never, I guess, personally involved with the event. I've never, I don't have kids. So that side of things never was personal with me. But when you get so involved with a show like that, and when you're playing real people and you're doing, verbatim interviews and things like that, you start to get really involved, and just the whole situation sticks with you even harder than it might have before. I mean, I remember when it happened originally, but it didn't really hold inside of me as much as it did, I guess, when we revisited with the show.
Anybody else? I was going to say, I was a strong advocate for changes in the laws dealing with weapons and all, but I got to tell you, after this, and I hadn't mentioned yet, this was actually Sandy Hook, for those that are watching and we're trying to figure out where we're talking about. It made me personally that much more committed to the fact. It solidified what I already thought. Let's put it that way. That we can't keep operating like this. And it was really powerful. The next the first mass shooting during the run of this was the Saturday. We did a Saturday and Sunday, I think, audition. And I think it was that Saturday that the synagogue in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, was attacked. And the powerful, sad thing was throughout rehearsal and into the run of the show, they continued to happen. It wasn't, it wasn't just a one-off thing. They continued to happen. So that's what I got. What do you guys do? What are you guys doing today, Brody? What have you been up to since 26 Pebbles?
Other than moving out to Tennessee and just finding work, I've been working nonstop. I was traveling 5 days a week, so don't really get to do a whole lot of anything special, with just my weekends available. Unfortunately, it means I haven't been able to do any acting. I'm still doing playwriting and still trying to submit to theaters and trying to get shows on, stuff like that. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to get involved in acting.
I was just going to ask about the writing because for those just tuning in, Brody's quite the prolific writer. We got to experience through the fourth wall, Calendar Kids, one of your productions, and that came out of your head. Wow.
Thank you.
Very well done. How about you, Ken? What has been up in your life since in this last year since we closed the show?
Well, I maintained a friendship with Craver online. I became one of his Facebook friends. So I read his posts every now and then, and he's responded to a couple of mine. He's still he doesn't mention the shooting at all, really. He's involved with a lot of other things, Black Lives, of course, stuff he does with his congregation and that kind of thing. Also, Darren, I was involved with. I stayed in touch with him also through Facebook. These are the real people that were actually there at the shooting. Excuse me. Will you be quiet? Sorry. But anyway, I kept in touch with them, and I've been trying to keep in touch with what they're doing with our gun laws, and nothing seems to be happening. Everything's kind of stalled in Congress, and eventually stuff is going to happen. We just have to be patient again. I did notice that the shootings went down, which is a really good thing. I don't know why that happened, but I'm grateful. Since then, I've done some other shows. I did a show at the Opera House for Christmas, and I was cast in another show called Roe. It was a story of Roe versus Wade, and we were actually in our first week of rehearsal, and that got canceled.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not really doing any acting at all right now, but I'm reading scripts and stay ready in case something pops up. And when this goes away, I'm going to be ready to do some more. I really do miss the stage a lot. That's me, just working, waiting. And
stage misses you as well, sir. The stage misses you. Fran, what's been up with you in the last 12 months?
Well, I'm kind of excited to have a moment to brag about this. So tell me to shut up when I go too far.
No.
I took my first vacation in years last fall after Pebbles, and I went to Ireland on a Rhodes Scholar trip. So it's kind of a study group. You're on vacation, but you get lectures by these experts. And I picked the part of Northern Ireland that most of my grandparents were from, grew up and got married, and then moved over to Scotland or elsewhere. And it was a really moving experience for me. It was a study of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. And I posted a book, and I don't know, you may remember it. I posted it.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to share with you how that came about, that I was introduced to this, because the trip was just about up, and this was my third night in Derry, where my grandparents finally lived before moving over to Scotland for work, like 100 years ago now, about 100 years ago now. And my parents were both born a few years after that. Anyway, I'm pretty much of a loner sometimes. I mean, I live alone right now during the pandemic, so I do a lot of talking to myself. But over there on this trip, you know, it was such a special place. By the time we got to that part of Ireland that was Derry, I was thrilled with the appearance of the peace process and what it had done in the past 20 years and what it's still trying to do to hold it because it's fragile. And I was just moved to tears every day when I woke up and I looked out my hotel window at the Peace Bridge that had been built. And on my last night there, evening, I should say, we were leaving to drive to Dublin and places on the way. And I was just wandering around by myself away from the group, and I stopped in at City Hall. They were closing up. I saw some people leaving. And the doors were still open, so I went and I said, "Hey, is there any good theater going on tonight? Anything I should?" Anyway, the people that were there, they were so friendly. Well, where are you from? What are you doing? Oh, okay. Here's something for you. There's a book signing today. A new book's just been published. And I said, "Really? Okay." Yeah, and it doesn't cost anything. You can just go there. And it was in this beautiful hall, like a block away from the hotel I was staying in. And so I got there. I just grabbed a quick bite to eat, and I went into a beautiful big hall packed with people. And volunteers in black ties serving, the wine was flowing, the cocktails were flowing to everybody that showed up. And it was for the launch of this book, Children of the Troubles. And it was the only thing that's ever been published about, since the 1970s, who were the children that died, who were the victims here that were children. Fucking heartbreaking, pardon my French. I'm sorry, take that out of the tape. But
No.
you know, I was sitting there just in awe, and there was so much excitement waiting for the guest speakers to come along. And the guest speakers were the authors. One was a journalist, Frida McClellan, and one Joe Duffy. He's like a talk radio host there. And they did the research on this, and they tried to find children that hadn't been recognized or identified as, well, they died, but was their death part of the Troubles? And so these kids had been blown up by bombs, hit by loose bullets, hit by loose rocks being thrown, killed in various ways, little girls, little boys. And you know, there was one man there that was the guest speaker who was not the author, but he was in his 40s probably, maybe 50 something. And he had been blinded back in the 70s as a child of the Troubles. And he came to talk about his experience in life after that. Just such an eloquent speaker and so beautiful. Yeah, you know, I think this was a gift. I would never have been invited to this if I hadn't have done 26 Pebbles first, because I was tuned in. What about the children? How awful that they die because of just senseless violence and you know, and this is politically motivated, and you can look at both sides, and I studied that the whole trip. But you know, this book that they gave like a page to each child. They had their photographs, the date of their death, what they were like, all of the testimonies we were giving at 26 Pebbles with the children on the board, you know? And it was just beautiful. I actually didn't break down and cry and have a nervous breakdown there. I was just in awe. And I was sitting right next to this friendly woman who gave me her home address. She was about my age, and she said, "Oh, next time you come over and visit, you can stay at my place for a couple of weeks." Phone number. And I said, well, do you know any of the families of the victims? She said, yeah. And so one of these children was her grandson. And she was waiting for her family member to show up that had dropped her off there. Anyway, and then we stood in line, and while we were standing in line, this another volunteer came right down the line and spoke to everybody and said, "Is there anybody who dedicate this book to?" Because I bought it right away as soon as And so they signed it for me, and it's dedicated to 26 Pebbles. The dedication is dedicated to the memory of the Sandy Hook School District. Rest in peace. Signed by Joe Duffy and Frida McClements. Now this happened where I'm from. I never felt so much at home as I did in that city. 6,000 miles away for one night. Got a glimpse of the sadness and the happiness of an entire race of Irish people, wild Irish people that I'm madly in love with. Everybody I met was terrific. The Protestants, the Catholics, everyone had some unshakable, deep conviction that peace was the best, that it was fragile, and they hoped it lasted. Anyway, thanks. I shared that. I'm going to shut up now.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
I was just tuned in. Why the heck would anybody on vacation stop in at City Hall just to say hello? Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Amanda,
Yeah.
what's your life been like? Thank you for sharing that, by the way, Fran. What has your life been like for the last 12 months?
I've stayed involved with the Fourth Wall. I've done a few shows. I recently became artistic director of the company. We're working on the upcoming season whenever we're allowed to come back, and a virtual season, which this will be a part of. I've been hanging out with this guy quite a bit.
Oh, my condolences.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. The 17-year-old next to you there, Craig, what have you been doing for 12 months? I know you're staying busy with work.
Yeah, pretty busy. Just going off what Amanda was saying, I'm also part of the Fourth Wall creative team. I'm the secretary, and actually, me and Ben we're in the right about to put on a production of Much Ado About Nothing, Shakespeare. We were like a week away from actually performing it, or no, maybe it was like
2 weeks, yeah.
Away from Tech Week. So we were really close. Of course, we all know what happened next. So we started rehearsals again virtually with the cast that's still able to meet with us Zoom. We just kind of meet like once a week. We just had one last night. So we're still keeping strong with that. That's going to be part of our real season, our in-person season, whenever that comes. So that's still happening. Besides theater things, yeah, I'm pretty busy at work. I'm working like 6 a.m. to before this meeting started today.
Yeah.
I'll be back on after. Yeah, so there's a lot of work in between, but it's been and of course spending all the rest of my time with Amanda, which is the best time. So.
Well, and I pointed you out before, Amanda, and I will continue to do it and honor your work as a nurse through this process. Ken, are you doing mental health over at Kaiser?
No, I do optical. I'm an optician.
Okay.
I eyeglasses and contact lenses.
Yeah, that was Lisa. I think that was okay.
Yeah.
As we get close to wrapping this up, I just want to say again, as some of the others have already, I'm repeating what you said, and that is that this particular production with this particular specific cast will be one for the ages in my memory forever. The work that you all put into it, the dedication you all put into it, the choices you made, the truth that each of you brought to the stage and to your characters. And the one thing I'd ask you to do, and you guys really kept doing it, and it's just honor the words, since those were real words from real people. Honor their words with truthful work. And each of you did that. You made 26 Pebbles, the Fourth Wall production, as powerful as it was because of what you brought to the table. So I'm applauding all of you. A round of applause, as we used to say in Boy Scouts. I wasn't a scout for long. I just couldn't put up with that. Anyway, and I'm thinking of doing this again because I'm missing people like Lisa and her husband Mike and Micah and Matt and Melinda and her daughter Alex, the rest of the group. So look for another post coming out. We're checking for a poll. You are all welcome to come back or not come back when we do again. But I just really, I want to connect, and I'd wanted to after the show closed. It just got wrapped up with a lot of stuff myself. But sometime after things settle down, realistically, and sometime in 2021, even if we got a social distance at 6 feet apart, the backyard can handle it. I want to do a barbecue, some wine, some beer, some cheer, and have y'all come by because, yeah. So anybody else closing thoughts? We have exactly 9 minutes and 49 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say good luck, Craig, on the Shakespeare play.
Well, thank you.
The set piece, I took pictures of it that I made, the bush. It's awful looking. It was not finished. It's not rounded enough. So anyway.
Well, now we have the time.
you got lots of time. Round the bush. Round the bush.
Craig cast me in that play, and I had to back out because I was just exhausted from everything. I backed out of everything, and I'm not really doing anything. I have Zoom meetings where we talk about maybe monologues about a play, but I'm not involved. I needed a year off, and so. But anyway, good luck with it. I'm excited that you're rehearsing it. I'll come see
you, Fran. We do miss you, Fran.
We do.
Yeah.
Who else? Brody, give us some wise words of wisdom or something peculiar.
I don't think I got any of that, but I'm gonna be visiting in late September.
What?
Yes.
And I'm gonna be trying to get the most out of that. But one thing I am gonna be trying to do is I've got a couple of plays that I've written. I like to do a table read because sometimes it helps to record, people actually reading the script, to hear it back rather than just reading it. So, I'm gonna be putting it out there on groups and pages and things like that for people who might want to get involved and help out with that. So just kind of an early heads up.
Yeah.
Sure.
When are you thinking about coming out, Brody?
What?
When are you thinking about visiting?
It's already set. I got my plane tickets months ago when all the prices dropped down to like virtually nothing. Got ahead of that. I'm flying in the 26th of September, and then I'm flying back out on October 3rd.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of time. Okay.
So I'll be out there for about a week.
Okay. Cool.
We need some Brody time. Anyone else? Parting words, parting glass. I just want to thank. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
No, go. You got it.
Sharing her trip to Ireland with us.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And the tie back to all of this.
Yeah. The ripples.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the ripples. The
ripples, yeah.
And they continue.
26 Pebbles. That's exactly what happened. Each one of those drops in a pond, it just emanates out. The ripples, vibrations, it's life. The stuff spreads.
They continue. And we are in a time now of vast change. I'm feeling more positive each day in the midst of the most negatives that I've ever lived through in nearly 66 years. I'm feeling some positivity. Change is coming. I'm feeling change is coming. The ripples are going out just like the play. So,
that's good. I needed to hear that because.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying
It's been so dark you couldn't shine a light flash, enough to see your nose in front of your face, let me tell you. But anyway, much love for all of you. Thank you for taking your time out in your isolation, in your hotel rooms, in your bedrooms, in your houses, whatever, to participate in this, and look for on the production page another chance to get together and connect, because I can't get enough connection with 26 Pebbles people. All right. That's for all of you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Wow. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye, Amanda. See you later, Craig.
Bye.
Take care, Dennis.
My God, this is absolutely breathtaking. It absolutely takes your breath away. And once you've seen that, it's forever. You just don't forget it.